Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is January 19th, 2021, one day before the big inauguration tomorrow in the United States. And I want to share some ideas that I have about what's really going on. My name is Sandy Glaze. I'm a personal transformation and self-development coach. I specialize in emotional and spiritual energies. Because I specialize in those areas, I see things that maybe other people don't consider or haven't really been able to put into the pieces of the puzzle together to understand what is actually going on. So we know we're in a spiritual war. And what I see happening in the United States, we know there's two different agendas at play. There's a good agenda and a nefarious agenda. The nefarious agenda wants to keep us dumbed down. They don't want us to understand our innate abilities. They do not want us to grow in consciousness. So I want to share just one thing first before I start going in and explaining what is happening. Anyone familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs? If you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, he's got 5 colors there. But when we look at the full spectrum of the visible spectrum of color, we have 2 more. We have the indigo and we have the violet. And the indigo and the violet are our higher sensory perceptions, our connection to source energy, the divine in us, knowing our path, knowing who we are, being able to bring on our intuition. And this is what they don't want us coming into, our true innate abilities. So they want us to stay, I'm going to say dumbed down. And if anybody has done the research on Maslow, they understand he's a Freemason. So it's no wonder the universities don't want you understanding just how talented you are. And I want to explain what I think is happening with the inauguration. I also want to thank everybody, any truther out there. If you're doing your best and you're trying to get the information and maybe you make mistakes, it doesn't matter. I've learned from so many people to be able to put this together, and it matters because our intentions matter, because we're still in the dark a little bit. And I just want to thank everybody for their input. 2 things happened this morning. General Flynn posted something in Telegram, and he doesn't understand why the troops are there. And I'm thinking, okay, so if they're in charge, he would know, I think. And I believe him. He also posted something about the Simpsons, an episode a year ago, I think it's a year ago tomorrow, and all this went down about the vote and the inauguration. Everything went down. One of the Simpsons characters was wearing a mask. And I'm thinking back to something that someone told me about how everything is created for us. The creative abilities that we have is what makes us superior as beings. And I'm not saying that from ego. We can do that. AI doesn't have that yet. But we can create if we know how our systems are brought on. And then that's going to lead me to, I can't remember if I said this already or not, but what I'm calling this episode is We Are the Harvest. And if anybody remembers, a while ago, there was a meme and it showed Donald Trump saying, it's not me they want, I'm just the one in between. It's you they're after. So we have an ability to use our emotions and create energy. And I don't want to go into the darkness of this necessarily, but we also know when they heighten the emotions of the people they torture and sacrifice, that's what they want. They want the loose energy. Well, they're getting it from us, but in a lower, not with the intensity. So this is what I think is happening with this inauguration tomorrow. And the reason why, so General Flynn put a couple messages out there. I listened to somebody else talk about how they went in and remote viewed in Trump's war room. I don't know what you want to call that. And I know from my own experience and things that I've learned in the past and people I've trained with, I would watch people go in remote view and go into the corporation's boardrooms. And sometimes they'd have somebody in there who could see them coming and would chase them out. So all this happens on the etheric plane that we don't know about. So who knows what we're being fed? Who knows what's true and who knows what isn't true? But when we start to look at just how, I'm going to say complex this can be, we realize we don't have the whole picture. So I have done some episodes with Miles Johnson of the Basis Project. I'm a Basis 58, and I think it was episode 6. I outlined what is going on with the AI. And again, I'm not coming from ego, but humans are IA. We're intelligent already. All of the information that is passed through the computers, they use our programming, our software, our hardware. Do you remember our handwriting used to be cursive is what they called it? Now we have the cursor on the computer. So everything is designed to mimic us. And I was listening to Miles interview Max Spears, and Max told us that like the negative happens in the black. And when you look at your telephone, you look at your your TV, your computers, it doesn't, any of your electronics, this is a scrying mirror. And if anybody says, I don't do the black magic, whatever, nobody cares, because they do. And we have to understand how if we don't say no, then we consent by default, because we don't understand how this works. So what I want to talk about is how the dark energies are transmuted. And one thing I want to share is the intentionality of the dark energy. So I've got one of the books that I use as one of my manuals, Implants, Probes, Testing Devices, and Weapons. And there's different places that these can originate from. So they can be implants from this or other dimensions, past lives, ancestral, ETs, implants and weapons by ETs from other dimensions. And I'm not going to go into all these. It's the delivery I want to talk about. Diabolical implants, astral implants, cult implants, which would be any kind of religion, Satanism, Luciferianism, government devices, implants and weapons, cords and triggers, electronically controlled devices. So understand this is how they're sending energy to us. And I'm going to say this is more for the English world, just because our language is so booby-trapped, but this is how they send it, if you can see that. The choiceless distortions, hexes, charms, spells, and modems. Does anybody think the gates from hell didn't understand that modems are something that's used to transfer dark energies when they created the language around computers? We really give him that much credit? I think he's evil enough that he would be able to do that and be able to put that together. And that's where the spells come in, because we're spelling, we're cursing ourselves with our own computers if we don't know how to understand this. Why this matters. The inauguration tomorrow is going to be televised. This is why I was able to put all this stuff together just in the last little while, listening to Flynn's, comments, what he was posting and what other people are saying. So the inauguration is going to be televised. And what happens when they put our vision in front of our eyes, they can create whatever the narrative is. They show you what the narrative is. So then you end up watching their vision, their creation, and that's what fuels their reality. And it's our job to understand how this works and not buy in. Because a lot of people are going to be watching this tomorrow, and I'm no different than anybody else. I've been hearing maybe, things aren't going to work, Biden is going to get in. I'm not happy about it, but I'm not attached to any outcome. I have all the faith in the world, in the universe, in love, in God, that this is going to work out. But who says it has to be on my schedule? Who says it has to be on my terms? But what's going to happen when everybody freaks out tomorrow, if this is what goes down, that's when the dark energies are going to come in and do a major harvest. Some people might think, well, that's a little far-fetched, Sandy, but let's talk about all the stadiums and all the sports, sporting events. So when they're out trying to kill it on the football field, and then you get halftime and you get Madonna out there with her Baphomet, or Beyonce with her Baphomet. I think the last Super Bowl game, it was J-Lo and Shakira. Now, do you remember when they were going up, running up to the cameras and they were doing crotch shots? She was siphoning sex energy, life force energy out of everybody in that stadium and anybody who was watching on the electronic devices. And as I've said before, some guys want to get laid by J-Lo. You got screwed all right, but not the way you think. And we have to understand how all this energy works, because we can reverse what they plan for you tomorrow. When I say you, I know they're planning it for everybody, but I know how to protect myself and I know how to send this back. And I'm going to try to share some of these ideas with you guys. For dark energies, again, Miles Johnson, he was in, I think he worked for the BBC, and I can't remember, Sky News. He worked for a few big radio stations. He understands that radio broadcast technologies, they have to project out from the ether, which is the fourth dimension, to make it land in the physical. So they all know this. They know how this works. So they have their intentions of what they're going to do tomorrow. Are they going to shock us and show us horror, deaths, bombs, things blowing up? Who knows what they're going to do to scare the crap out of people? Think of when people go into movie theaters and they sit there and they get terrified. Well, they get a high off of that because they know they're not at risk, but they get the thrill of being able to watch the movie. And what dark energies do is come in afterwards and sit in those chairs and eat the energy, eat the fear. We've got to understand how this works, because if we don't understand how this works, we're never going to be able to get in front of it. So when we understand that this is what the plan is for tomorrow, how many, I hate to say this, but who do they plan on sacrificing tomorrow? They got to sacrifice somebody to make this a big event. And in my opinion, etherically, emotionally, spiritually, I hope it's not the masses, right? That's what I really want to see happen. So So corporations, they say the corporations, I don't know how many, 40 corporations run the governments and run the world. These corporations know how all this works. And we hear about the underground military bases, and I think it was Dulcie, some people are saying there's 40 floors, each one for each of these main corporations. They know how all of this energy works. And it's our job to not let them siphon us off. That's what our job is. When I talk about the scrying mirror, the biggest psyop going is the tell lie vision, or tell a vision, because whoever's creating the reality in front of you, if they have a higher awareness, they create the reality. It's like the quantum wave function. Whoever the observer collapses the quantum wave function. So if they think they're smarter than you, they are in charge. If you know your higher awareness is kicked in and you understand how this goes, you can put that wall up and not buy into this and just say, I don't care what I'm seeing. I'm not buying. I do not consent. But you can do this staying centered so that nothing can come in and enter your aura. When we are in heightened states of fear, what happens is our aura is shattered sometimes, or it breaks and darkness can come in. And that's when they start harvesting people energetically. So it's up to us to understand this is what they're doing and not fall for it, right? Television, what did I watch? War castles. So many people are aware of all the admiralty law and how this game is played, and it's too extensive to go into for what I want to talk about today. But we understand they know how all this works. It was a documentary called War Castles. Lieutenant Robert Horton, I think, and he explained how all of this worked. And he came right out and said that television was a psyop. I think he said 59. And what they did was they started loading up soap operas in the 60s for the women who were staying at home. And soap operas, there's so much betrayal and so much heartache, and there's so many reasons to be upset. They were already starting to condition the women to go to their television to get their emotional high. Problem is, when the husband came home, the woman would be ticked off, right? Because Victor screwed around on Nikki again, and but he would never know what hit him. So this is how ingrained that idiot box is in a lot of people's lives. It changes their thoughts, it changes their emotions, it changes how they behave, and people aren't even aware this is happening. So this is why this is so important. Okay, so talked about the Simpsons. So if you ask me, this is a colossal mind script. So tomorrow, if they can get everybody buying in that Biden got in and have everybody distraught and they can harvest your energy, you've allowed that government to come in. I'm not putting it on you. You've allowed that government to come in and given them permission. So it's really important, and I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to do this. It's really important that with your mind, you project that back out. And I'm going to show you how to back some of that out. What else? So what they're going to do tomorrow is also implant thoughts. So we already know in major cities, they're planning on having having the Antifa come out again and pretend to be Trump supporters, and they're going to riot and they're going to make them look like the idiots. So anybody who's got a Trump sign on their yard is probably potentially going to be a target. That's the kind of stuff that these guys have planned. These guys are sick. If we understand how psychopathy works, psychopaths share energy. Sociopaths share energy. Narcissists share energy. Shame-based people share energy. They know who they are. They all think the same way. It's not that it's mental illness. It's lack of compassion, lack of heart, lack of love. They aren't capable of doing these things. But they understand intuitively who their brothers and sisters are. Just as we can sense sometimes the good, they sense the darkness. So they're going to try tomorrow to turn everything inverted all right back onto the people and make it look like Trump supporters are the violent ones. And that's why I think it's really important. If Trump says peace, no fighting tomorrow. Don't go out if you have to stay home tomorrow for a couple of days or a week, stay. And make sure you're safe, but understand how all of this is going to go down, and they're going to do it through the idiot box. Because even if you know how to protect your energy, it doesn't mean Johnny down the street has his act together and isn't going to get charged with frequencies and violence and be sparked up to start causing trouble if they see somebody not wearing a mask because you must be a Trump supporter, right? So understand the extent that they are willing to go to win. They got no choice, because if they lose this, they're all going to jail, right? Evil is clever, but it's not intelligent. And that's why they're going back to the television and using the same stuff they've used for the last 60 years, because that's all they know. They don't know any different. They can't come up with anything new because they're not the creators. They're the psychopaths. The people who have love in their heart, and you're creating from a good place. You're creating from a joyous place, like where you want the best for everybody, that is what's going to outweigh and out vibrate them. The sun shining. So whenever I get the right comment, it seems the sun starts to come out again. So don't let them harvest your energy. And how you do that, people are already nervous. So what you're going to do is be able to bring yourself back to your center, stay inside your aura. And one of the techniques that I use is counting. And what I do is I have people count for a count of 4, hold for 4, and breathe out for 8. And we're going to do a couple sequences of this, and I'm going to explain how this works. Breathe in for 4 and count out loud. 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4 and count out loud. 3, 4. Breathe out slowly for 8 and count. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And when you empty your breath, feel in your body. Where do you feel it? Is there anything that's tight? Is there anything that needs oxygen? Breathe in for 4. Keep counting. 3, 4. Hold for 4. Keep counting. Count out loud. And breathe out slowly for 8. And while you do this, your mind can't race while it's counting. That the left and right hemispheres can't fire simultaneously when you're counting. And on the empty, feel in your body. Where do you feel it? Is there something in your side that needs attention? Your back, your legs? Breathe in for 4. Hold for 4. Breathe out slowly for 8. And you do this until you calm yourself back down, because we're all going to see things that we don't like tomorrow. As you breathe out for 8, do this as many times as you need to, and then just go back to your regular breathing pattern. And that helps you center so fast. It just brings you right down. It's almost like a great grounding exercise. So tomorrow, when we're starting to see this, if you have children, if you can get their electronics away from them, because they are going to try to scare the Jesus out of everybody. And we know with all the lockdowns, again, you know, they're trying to bring more fear in. I live in Ontario, Canada, so they brought more mandates back about you can't accept cash, and people just give you a dirty look now because they get their medical news from the mainstream media. So they're really starting to push and pull and really work the divide and conquer mentality. So when I say the observer collapses the quantum wave function, this is how this looks and why our society is so messed up, in my opinion. We have given certain people the benefit of the doubt, or the assumption that because they have a certain education, a level of education or field of study, that they're somehow superior to the individual, to yourself. And this is anything but the case. So people go to the doctor and say, doctor, what's wrong with me? And the doctor looks at their manual based on what you just told me, and they tell you. But if they are stronger in their conviction and you're not strong, you're going to absorb their diagnoses. It's the same for mental health. I don't think that the medical system is the leading cause of death anywhere that I know of in the Western world. So it's not going to be the medical system that's going to find you your way back to health and happiness. And it's the same as mental health. Doctor, I've got anxiety. You need this. And then now they are collapsing your quantum wave function. A better way to approach this, and even with the information that I'm sharing, maybe you agree, maybe you don't, it doesn't matter, is I'm going to listen to what you have to say, but I'm a sovereign being. I make my own choices for myself. And when we start standing in our power and bring more of our conscious energy, more of our soul energy, more of our spiritual connection, our higher self back into our bodies, then we become more sovereign, and these dark energies can't get past us the same way. This has been going on for so long, and this is why they divided state and church, because you'd have to go to church to get your passport to God. And then you went to the indoctrination center of the education center so that you would get your programming without any emotion, without any spiritual connection, without understanding how powerful you really are. So this is how they've been doing it anyways. So think about what you're going to do tomorrow. If you can make a list of all the things that are fun for you, or things that take your mind away, and maybe it's coloring, maybe it's something knitting, it doesn't matter what it is. Maybe it's going to be gardening or cleaning your house. I doubt that one, but you never know. Maybe it's going to be going out and playing, I don't know about playing golf, but going out and enjoying nature. Make a list of all the things that you like to do, or your family likes to do, or have board games ready just in case it gets really stupid. And we're not going here. We're not going here is not the same as ignoring what is going on. When we can observe with curious detachment, and at the same time say, no, I'm not buying into this. This is bullshit. You're not feeding the energies. It's when you don't know what to say, or you absorb it, or you let your aura be affected by it, that's when they're going to win. So all this tomorrow is going to be a major psyop to siphon energy off the people who aren't suspecting that this is how they do this. We've seen music videos. We've seen Taylor Swift, Katy Perry said that she made a deal with the devil or Lucifer. She's married to Lucifer. We've seen Madonna videos. We've seen all of this black magic work. Why wouldn't they try it again? It's worked every time on the masses. And that's what we don't want to have happen. So I'm going to say clear out fear from the future and the low vibrations. Anybody follows the binaural beats, each of the binaural beats are charged at a certain frequency for different things. 741 cleans out negative emotion, negative entities. It cleans out anything, the low vibration emotions. It just, like, as soon as you listen to it, it just pulls you right up. And if anyone hasn't really gone into the binaural beats, go through and listen to a couple and find one that resonates with you, that you like, and be able to clean it. If you've got a house that's untidy today, clean your house up today, tidy it up, because energies get trapped in any kind of clutter, dust. I found some dust behind a chair today, so I'm going to go and get that later and clean it out. Smudge. If you smudge, the dark energies are gone, because they're waiting. As soon as I figured all this out this morning, this is a black magic psyop of epic proportions, it's like, okay, I know what I need to do. The other frequencies I was going to talk about before I move on is 528. 528 is the frequency of love. And sometimes when you hear that frequency, it can bring tears to your eyes. It also, depending on which one you're listening to, can help to empower your DNA, spiral up your DNA. So listen to some of these frequencies. 639 harmonizes relationships. And sometimes if I can feel the collective energies around me, and I just know people are all stressed out or whatever, I will play that in the house, and it just harmonizes the energy in my space. That's the only space I'm responsible for. And just brings a nice calming sense into my house. So things are going to get heated tomorrow. There's no doubt about it. That's the plan. That's their agenda. That's what they're going to bring us through the screen, through the black magic. Our agenda is we're not buying in. We're not believing a word you're saying. How many times do we need to be lied to before we step in and start to figure out what they're doing, how they're playing this game? Be impeccable with your word. Don't say things like, oh my God, if Biden gets in tomorrow, blank, 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 whatever it is. Don't go there. Trust in the plan. And when I say the plan, I don't mean the Patriots. Like they're just playing out the role. They're playing out a part just like everybody else is. Trust there's a better plan, that we're on this planet right now for a reason, that we have reincarnated to be here. And it doesn't matter what your age is, if you're 10, if you're 20, 30, 40, 80, it doesn't matter. The thing is, it's 2020, 2021 and beyond. We're here for the change. So some of us are going to be here to help destroy and bring down the old system. Maybe that's a lot of that is the White House. Some people are going to be here to help create a new system. Decide for yourself where you want to be. Some of us can go back and forth and do a little bit of punching, heavy hitting, and go back into the light and really be flexible with our consciousness. So don't go into anger or get pulled out of your aura, because sometimes when people push with their aura, they leave their back open, and that's where the dark energies come in. So there can be ways that they try to tackle you. So do not give them an in. Pray. I did a reading this week, and what's today, Tuesday? Maybe I did this on Sunday. And I pulled cards. I pulled 10 cards, and this deck, the reading is still sitting here on the table with me. And the first one was look in the mirror. Maybe I'll bring these over here. The first one is look in the mirror. And does this apply to me? Totally. Does it apply to everybody? I think so. Anyone who chooses to look at it this way, look in the mirror. Who are you? Do you like what you see? Are you positive about the future? Do you think great things are in store for us down the road? And I think they are. But take a good look at yourself. And then you turn around, and these cards apply to the micro, yourself, and the macro. And once you take a look at yourself, then you look around at the world around you. And why I say that, years ago, I did some work on myself, and I had to understand certain emotions that I had and certain things that kept coming back up. And I didn't realize different experiences that I had when I was younger. Some of them were very harmful. There's some things I did that I didn't realize were harmful, and you have to apologize internally and apologize to the person if it's appropriate, and then you don't do them anymore. But what my point is, I went through and I was inside for, I don't know, maybe 3-4 months. And when I finally decided to come out and look around, I had looked in the mirror. And when I looked around, I thought, man, I thought I was screwed up, but you guys are really screwed up. And there's a lot of messed up people out here. So don't take it all that it's all you, that you got to be the light all the time. Yeah, you want to be as positive as you can be, but other people need to own their stuff too, okay? So when I go to pray, the next card I pulled up was an altar. Whatever that means for each individual. Do you have an altar with crystals on it or some of your favorite things? Do you have a place where you go? Is it in nature where you pray? Do you go to a certain, like maybe a room in your house, or do you go to a certain building where you pray? Do you pray with certain people? When you meditate, you're asking for information. When you're praying, you're putting it out there. Please, God, help me. How do I blank, blank, blank? So you're asking for help when you're praying. The next one was a beach, sandy beach. It's going to be good. Whatever comes out, there's water. Water's a big part of this, which is emotions. And it's not big waves hitting the shore, a nice rolling wave. So we are going to be in an emotional roller coaster ride for a little while. So it's really important to know how to center ourselves. And I know sunny days are coming. So sometimes I think I'm backward when I do my readings, because I get the good news first, and then I get the dark news, and then I go back and get the good news. So I hope it's almost a sandwich. Somebody, a thief, is going to lose their hand. And I think we all have a pretty good idea who they are, right? So get their hands chopped off for this, for what they've done. I'm not here to mete out whatever the punishment is for people. That's not what I'm here to do. But it's okay that I want them to be accountable for what they do. It's all going to work out. The rainbow over the water. This is all going to work out. Is this the rainbow, Nasara and Jasara coming in? It's okay to, when you pray, to want that to come in, for prosperity for everyone, for health and wellness for everybody, for the medibeds to come in, for prosperity, for joy, for happiness, for people to have money so they can go and they don't have to work like dogs all the time, that maybe they want to create more music, or they want to be a dancer, or they want to do some of the arts. So that's okay to do. This one's been coming up a lot lately too. And when I look at this card, I look at this as us, and we've got some big forces on both sides of us, but we're going to prevail because we're going to hold that energy and hold that space. So nothing is going to hit us. So I quite pleased with that one. We're not out of the woods yet. So these guys have to come to the light. We have to see who all of they are. And it doesn't matter. I don't care if it's a sitting past president. I don't care who does evil. I don't care if it's the Family and Children's Services, the caseworkers who lie and harvest children for the system. I don't care if it's the court clerk who, the stenographer who types everything out in every court hearing where they steal a child and doesn't speak up. I don't really give it who they are. It's all coming out. But these masks are coming off. And the best way for the masks to come off is for us to stand in our power, stand in our consciousness, be aligned with truth, whatever it is, let go of the outcome. And we'll see who is who. And we're seeing it in the administration in the United States. And that's why I think it's taking longer than we thought, because these psychopaths share energy. They know who they are inherently. They know how to find each other. We are going to be celebrating. There's going to be good things that are coming. And I know I've said this before. Generally, I'm not an optimistic person. And I know things are going to get scary. But I'm very optimistic about what's coming, and the sun's shining again. So that's another good sign. And this one makes me feel good. Again, I'm not judge and jury, but we need people in front of judges and held accountable for their actions, or we are going to create the same shit show that we have had on this planet for the last 2,000 years. And that's not an option for me. So stay in your power. Understand this is the psyop. So okay, so one thing that I've tried to do, when I realized about the modems, I don't know what this is going to sound like, but I'm going to tell you anyways. When I realized what was happening with the modems, I would put protection around myself and put mirrors on the outside. And if I was doing any kind of online clearing, I would put protection around my computers and put mirrors on the inside of the protection. So then I had a client here the one day, and my computer just starts chatting away to me. And he's highly intuitive, and we're both looking at the computer. And he goes, "You've got entities in there." And I thought, of course I do, because this is where I have to be impeccable with my word. I told them to stay inside, but I didn't say you couldn't be in the computer. So then once I realized this, and I understand the Wi-Fi is in the etheric world, but the fiber optic cables are not. what you do energetically, and you go through the hydro, you take your consciousness, if you're skilled at doing this, and you go through all the energy lines in your house, and you get back to your modem, and you go back and you push all the dark energy back, and you push it into the modem, and you push it in the fiber optic cables, and you push it back to the wall of your house, and you push it to your property line. Then as you, especially people who can remote view, imagine where that dark energy was sent to you from. Was it sent from mainstream media? Was it sent from a big tech company? Was it sent from the gates of hell? Doesn't matter where, but you send it back. I do not accept this. And then you smear your lines, your energy lines, so it can't come back and find you. So there's things that you can do. So if you start getting this stuff sent to you tomorrow, send it back. And it doesn't matter, anybody wants to send it to me, I can pretty much clue in, write in, and I can just send it right back to you. I don't care where you are. I just turn around and I know what direction to send it, and off it goes, right? So I know I understand how to do that. But this is an opportunity for us to reject in the etheric level, because we have to vibrate at their level or higher to manifest our reality. So one, we manifest and we clear back on the fourth dimension. That's where the radio broadcast technologies are. We send it back. But then we go into love and compassion and joy and happiness as we manifest and bring in the vision that we want for the future. When we vision for the future, some people do meditations and they do it inside, like behind their eyes and their mind eye. I don't agree with that necessarily, and I'm not telling people what to do, but when we do what, like the technology mimics us, so the screen's in front of us. Imagine you've got a TV screen in front of your eyes. And imagine what you want to see. Do you want to see the medibeds help people? Do you want to see homelessness, that like the people who are homeless be given a home? Do you want to see the 3D printers come in for certain things? What do you want to see? Do you want to see the planet get cleaned up? Do you want to see the waterways get cleaned up? Do you want to see more love and joy and happiness? Do you want to see more dancing? Do you want to see people getting along? None of the struggles. That shit is so 2020 and before that. Do you want to see the Jacera and Nasera come in? You want to see the wonders of the world? Do you want to be able to travel in no time with your consciousness and project and be wherever you want to be in a matter of seconds? So who knows what we can even ask for when we don't know what's even possible? This or something better. How do we ask for these things? So this is what we do tomorrow and afterwards. And if people come in and say, Biden won, this is what you ask them. How come I can see truth and you can't? Put it right back to them. How come I can see what's going on and you're not? What's wrong with your consciousness? I'm even starting to wonder if some of these vaccines, like we're told they're all coming out now. I don't believe that necessarily, that they aren't already in other vaccines that people have got, because some people are just clueless. They can't, even when you're articulating with them, they don't get it. They just are so dense in their energies. And I often wonder if maybe something has been happened already and they've already had vaccine injuries, because I don't believe for a minute that Gates wanted to have this one patented before he was willing to give it to anybody. They don't need anybody's permission. They're so arrogant. They just do what they want. So I hope you find this helpful tomorrow. Understand this is a psyop. We are the harvest or not, if we so choose. Stay centered, stay in love, want the best for everybody. Send the best for everybody. I don't send it just to the white hats. I don't send it to certain people just because then the dark energies follow our energy where we go. So I will even send, I don't fuel up the negative people, like the ones who are causing all the pain and the suffering, whether it's the caseworkers at Family and Children's Services. They hire those honeys because they got no soul. They hire those people because they will rip a family apart. They've got no conscience. I don't care. I'm not giving them a lot of energy, but I don't get to say what happens to them, but I want the best for everybody. But it doesn't mean I have to put my consciousness on them. So I hope you found this helpful. We are going to get through this, and understanding their game is a big part of it, because once we understand the games they're playing, we step away from it. We do not consent. And when I listened to Miles interview Max Spears, I think it was a 2018 interview, and I listened to Max. So he was a super soldier, the secret space program. He said what they would do is, you look at all the animation in Hollywood. So you look at the shows like The Simpsons or Family Guy, and they would charge that because each picture that they created to put all the stills in play to make it flow into a movie, that was their creation. We empowered it by watching it. I don't watch those shows, but basically the masses empowered it. I think one of them on Family Guy, they even had a pedophile as one of the neighbors. Everybody thought it was funny. So on some level, people are accepting pedophilia in this system that we have. So they don't even understand how they're doing it. And some people don't care, but that's here nor there. When we understand how this works, we no longer get played etherically. We reject any black magic that comes our way. We say, we do not consent. Not only do we not consent, we do not accept you. We do not accept this outcome. Doesn't mean we have to take to the streets and fight about it, because we know bigger things are coming. The best is yet to come. I know that. But we can hold our own and practice saying no. No. Get out. That's what people don't understand about the dark energies. We are such the creator. They have to listen to us. So we speak with conviction. Get out. You're not welcome here. You know who you can say that to, the sleepy, creepy one? You can send that energetically without sending ill intention. We do not accept. Unconditional love is not, it's not like a doormat for whatever anybody wants to do to you. Unconditional love is, it's not like a doormat for abuse. You can love somebody and still not take their crap. I love you, but this is not acceptable. I can have love in my heart for all of humanity, but I don't agree with everything you do. And that's how you stand in your power and stand solidly on your feet connected to Mother Earth, our beautiful planet. Your mind connected to your cosmic connection, your Christ consciousness, your God, whatever creator. This is how we stand in our sovereignty. And we start to stand a little differently instead of all being scared little bunnies or reactive the way they want us. And this is the higher consciousness that they do not want us to achieve. That is what they do not want. And in fact, I know I posted this before. So this is what they've done with a certain LBGT, elemental P for pedophilia. They've got everybody confused, right? So, but what this one is missing, it's got the indigo and the purple. It's missing the light blue, the throat chakra, and the muzzles. Wear your mask, shut up. So there's so much going on. They've thought this through on so many levels, symbolically, to keep people quiet. So they don't want us understanding who we are. The other one I'll talk about too when you look at this. So it's not just the LBGT, in case anybody's thinking I'm picking on them, I don't. But when you look at the stoplights, red, yellow, and green, that's inverted. It should be green, yellow, red. So even when we're driving, our energy is being pulled down on a symbolic level. So just understand how sneaky these little buggers are, but we're smarter than they are, and the best is yet to come. So I hope you found this helpful. By all means, share it with people. If anybody has something's freaking you out, it's okay to send me an email, sandy@endinggloballoneliness.com. It's okay to reach out on Facebook, Sandy Glaze, Twitter, Sandy Glaze. I'm on Telegram right now, Sandy Glaze. It's okay just to reach out and say, this is what's going on. I don't know if I can help you just verbally, or just by sending a message back to you. But we need some ideas, and we need to know how to stay in our center right now. If you've got family members who are freaking out, you have to gauge your own family. But I'm not talking to mine about any of this shit, because they're so stuck in their, they like the money. That's all I can say, right? They like the money. So they have a vested interest in getting Biden to win, because they know this system is going to continue. And I don't say that out of malice or anything towards my family, but they're just not ready to wake up. So I don't talk to them about this. I tried telling my mom, emergency broadcast system might come on, don't freak out. So I tried telling her, and she couldn't handle that. And I'm not judging. I want the best for everybody, including them. But it doesn't mean that you go out and make yourself a lightning rod with people that you know are going to give you a hard time. So let somebody else wake them up. Anyways, if you find this helpful, by all means, subscribe to my YouTube, hit the notification bell. I keep saying I'm going to be coming out more and more with videos, but I can only do it when I get called to do it. That's what it seems like to be the right time for me. But I know we're going to be thinking outside the box going forward. We're going to be thinking of a lot of solutions that would never crossed our mind. We're going to hear about horrific things probably in the coming weeks, and it's really important to stay centered, know when to go for a walk, know when to turn it off if you can, or reach out to somebody who gets it, right? So trust you've got this. So God bless, love wins, we've got this, and let's see what tomorrow brings. Take good care, everybody. Bye-bye.